This is BioPuppet, and you are listening to the Literati Records podcast.
Are we happier? For the human race, is the world fundamentally a better place because of science and technology? We shall come, we shall live. At the same time, we'll be here, lonely and more cut off from each other than anyone else in the future.
Welcome to episode 51 of the Literati Records podcast. I'm your host Marcus, and I want to thank you once again for tuning in, turning on, and supporting independent music. I hope you are all having an awesome July 4th, aka Independence Day, which makes me think of our own Literati Records Declaration of Independence. Support for independent music anywhere is support for independent music everywhere. And yes, I truly do believe that. Okay, we have a few housekeeping items to knock out, and then it's on to our feature of the day. First up, it's a new month, and we have a new monthly cash prize winner. Jen B. Shore, JenBeshore. If your email address begins Jen B. Shore, send us an email from that account to literati@literatirecords.com and claim your cash prize. Once again, if your email address begins Jen B. Shore, send us an email from that account to literati@literatirecords.com and claim your cash prize. We also want to remind our audience that you can connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. This is where we interact directly with the larger independent music community. And we also accept email. So you can send us an email at literati@literatirecords.com. Let us know what you think about the show, the music, or the artists. Send us suggestions for Local Mix Monday, and we will check them out. All right, that takes care of the announcements. My guest today is veteran ambient electro EDM artist Jon Ball, better known as BioPuppet. Jon is a prolific producer and has many credits under many different pseudonyms. He currently has 3 nearly simultaneous releases on his Bandcamp site titled Defiled Hood, Purple Passion, and Alone in the Jungle. All 3 albums have a slightly different feel from each other, and Jon explains how he's able to view each as a separate concept and entity. All of the music on today's show is taken from the previously mentioned albums, and you will find a complete track listing on our website at www.literatirecords.com. Now, we hope you enjoy your Independence Day with independent artist BioPuppet. Well, my guest on the show today is local electro and EDM artist Jon Ball, better known as BioPuppet. Give us a little history behind the BioPuppet project.
Well, the BioPuppet project really started, I really came under that name. I went under a few pseudonyms over the last 10 years, but BioPuppet really kind of originated back in 2008. When I got back from London, I went out to London to work with some guys I'd been producing for, and that's when I first really got experience and got exposed to dubstep. And that kind of was a game changer for me, listening to a lot of the the real kind of Distance and Burial and all those other kind of dubstep guys. And I got a little more into the aggressive stuff like a couple years later, which is where I came up with BioPuppet. And so yeah, I've had about 2 releases through other labels through them, and now I'm just self-releasing through BioPuppet. And a couple other names I went over is Barcode Blues, and I also went by Love Dub for a little while. Played with Lord Byron. It was Lord Byron and Jon Ball, and other than that, I think that's about all the names I've had.
That's a few.
Yeah, it's a few. It was just a couple.
Well, what other electronic and EDM artists have inspired you along the way?
Oh, I'd say I'm most inspired by, as far as electronic artists, it's going to have to be Aphex Twin. I really listened to him since, I'd say, about 1997. That's when I really got into him, and back then, electronic music was much more about just exploring sound, and when I first heard his music, I was just so entranced by just the different sounds you could get. And music to me prior to that had always been just about, theory and everything else. And when I first heard electronic music, I heard that you could make, tones with any kind of sound, and it was just, to me, that it just opened up a whole new door for me. And I'd have to say Aphex Twin's a big one. Burial's a really big one for me. I listen to him a lot. I've listened to a lot of like 9 Inch Nails and stuff like that. Square Pusher, I love him. Been listening to a lot of Delane lately. He's a neurofunk guy out of Croatia, and I kind of feel like I've, in a way, can kind of connect with him. He's been producing for 10 years, so he's been around for a while. You can really hear it in his productions. Listen to Skrillex too. Surprises a lot of people. I like Skrillex a lot, and other than that, that's pretty much it. Mainly my number one influence is probably Richard James. I'd have to say out of anyone.
Well, have you always been into electronic music, or did you kind of come from another background first?
I did. I came from when I was 10 years old. I went to Middle Tennessee State University in Tennessee, and I started taking classical guitar lessons there for about 3 years. And when I was 13, I went to Belmont University in Nashville, and I studied under Jon Ball there for 3 years, I want to say. And it was all guitar, so it was all classical guitar. So my background is mainly classical guitar, and that's how I see things with music I write, is kind of from that kind of playing background. And I was always raised around like rock. When Kurt Cobain died, I was big into Nirvana. That kind of got me into picking up an electric guitar, and I'm a huge Korn fan. I always listen to Korn and 311. I always try to mix everything. It can be a little problematic though when you're trying to do that, because most people are they just it's just a natural thing for people to just want to get into like a certain zone, a certain sound, a certain genre. Mm-hmm. And artists like me that like to explore, it's a little more difficult for us coming from these broader backgrounds and stuff, because we appreciate so much more. It's hard for me to just stick to one thing and have like this specific sound I'm supposed to sound like.
Sure. Well, you've just released 3 new albums on your Bandcamp page: Defiled Hood, Purple Passion, and Alone in the Jungle. Can you tell us about the music on the new albums?
Yeah, I can. The one I've worked most on is Defiled Hood. And Defiled Hood to me is basically, I like doing theme-based music, and I like albums to be based on a theme. And the main theme with Defiled Hood is more, it's kind of like I want to think of it as like kind of like a Fallout kind of thing, where you're just, it's kind of like a dystopian future kind of vibe, and
a little apocalyptic,
little apocalyptic, but at the same time it's kind of fun, and it's it can be fun and it can be funny, and but it's kind of dark, and it's very serious at the same time too. I always, even the name Bio Puppet is kind of it really represents just kids now and what they're going to have to grow up with in the next 20 years, and all the problems we've caused, like my generation, the generation before it, and all we've done. The whole theme and the cover artwork with the girl wearing a gas mask, to me, really symbolizes kids are just kind of growing up, and we're all kind of growing up in this world that's just kind of, it's just really dirty, and it's really polluted. I mean polluted in a metaphorical sense. And that's kind of the theme with the album. And I try to do a lot of different genres on it. There's a lot of neurofunk on there. There's some tech step and dubstep. A lot of real old kind of kind of breakbeat sounds like the intro, and some ambient stuff on there. And Purple Passion is more of just a laid back kind of thing. Just real chill kind of music to just sit back and smoke and listen to. And,
more groove oriented.
More groove, kind of yeah, exactly. More, and there's a lot of slower dubstep on there. And Alone in the Jungle is specifically a 90s jungle tribute. I attributed that whole release to 90s jungle music. Goldie is also another one I forgot to mention earlier, but Goldie is a huge, huge inspiration to me. All the stuff he's done with drum and bass, what he did back in the 80s and 90s, it's remarkable. It's kind of a tribute to all those old sounds like Dillinger and Jay Majik, Doc Scott, and all those guys out of the UK that really, really set the stage for everything we're doing now. It was really those guys and a few of their predecessors that really, really kind of painted the picture for modern electronic music, especially dubstep, because all those old jungle songs, that and the old jungle and old garage songs are really what dubstep is supposed to be about. So then Alone in the Jungle is really just kind of a tribute to that.
That's a really good album. I like that one a lot.
Thank you.
They're all good, but Alone in the Jungle, I think, really hit me as a really solid beginning to end album.
And I'd say that one's more to me. That's more me, like my sound. If you want to really, because if you're only define me as an artist, I guess the only thing that really defines me is impressionism, because Claude Debussy, of course, is my favorite old composer. And all of his music is impressionistic, like the Snow is Dancing. He can always make music paint a visual picture, and I enjoy making music paint a visual picture for people without having to rely on a lot of samples, without having to rely on a lot of, words or vocals or anything like that. I like the idea of painting a picture, and that's what I try to do with Alone in the Jungle, like the Speed of Lightning and stuff like that. I want it to sound like a rainstorm. I want people to feel like they're in a rainstorm, and different things like that. So,
well, it's funny you mentioned that because I think as I was listening to Alone in the Jungle, what hit me is that these songs almost sound like little mini stories. Mm-hmm. You can, in the music, you can almost hear like a conversation or a narrative going on. It's not surprising to hear you say that. It came across that way to me.
Oh, thanks, yo. I'm glad you like it. And that's one of those, that's really what I'm going to focus on. That's pretty much the main thing I do focus on, is trying to come up with a good theme. And when there's times that I don't write music, it's simply because I can't come up with a good theme. So...
Well, do you have plans to take the BioPuppet music to the stage in a live setting?
I do. Soon here, I would say within the next 2 or 3 months, I'm going to have a little something to put together. I'm trying to do a little bit more than just a standard DJ gig, just a MP3 DJ or whatever like that, or just getting up there and hitting play. Provided I'm going to have to do a little bit of that in the beginning, but eventually I would like everything to just be performed live. That's more what I'm used to, and I can connect with the crowd better when I'm actually playing an instrument, other than just, a lot of these modern DJs, they just get up there, hit play, and just wave their hands around like a bunch of idiots, and, it's hard for me to do that.
Well, will you be working with other musicians on stage then, or are you still going to try and find a way to make it work with just yourself?
I'm open to a lot of things, and I'm going to be trying a lot of things too. Like I'm always going to do the BioPuppet stuff, because that's having the BioPuppet and having my own thing is a way to never have to worry about anyone else getting involved with what I do, no matter whether it's successful or not. When I stick to my own thing and say, well, I'm going to do this regardless of what I'm doing in my own time, and if this takes off, it takes off. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm definitely going to work with one of my good friends here. He's a drummer, and he'll be playing a lot of drums, maybe on some of my songs too, but we're working on putting some stuff together right now, and I would like to get back with a couple of my friends in the UK, see if maybe they can't get up here for a couple shows. My friend Byron, who was on my Lord Byron and Jon Ball album, or 2 albums actually, and I'll be releasing that soon. Him and I will be releasing that soon, so.
Through your Bandcamp page as well?
Probably through the Bandcamp, or I might even wait until I get my own page set up, my own web page set up before I get that. And I still need to talk to him. We need to figure some stuff out before we can release it and stuff, because it's a 50-50 album. He did 50%, sure. I did 50%. I want to make sure that him and I have gone over everything. So, but that's coming up in the future.
Well, what's your favorite piece of gear that you use to produce your music, or do you have one?
Oh, my favorite piece of gear is actually the software. I use Reason, Propellerhead Reason, and I like that software because to me that's, out of all the applications now, like Cubase and Ableton, Logic, all the Native Instruments synths, and all these other VSTs that are out right now, to me Reason is more like an actual musical instrument. It's actually like a real piece of hardware. You have your wires in the back. It's like working with something real, and it forces you to be creative, because there's only really 3 synths that come with the program, or of course the older versions, and it forces you to be creative. It forces you to make do with what you have, and I think the problem in a lot of new music now is the fact that the software just does it for you. I like Reason a lot. I like, of course,
especially
I use my
the new
keyboards.
version.
The new version is incredible. Yes, a lot of good changes to the mixer, their main mixer in there. Yeah, I'd say as far as that, and EMX1 is also a really cool toy. Me and my friend share that. He's got an EMX1, and we're going to be putting that in a lot of our music too. Other than that, and of course, I really play my guitar a lot more than anything. You'll hardly ever hear it on any of my work, but I really just like to play guitar, and when I'm just, actually, if I'm either producing or I'm playing an instrument, to me it's like it's one of two things. So yeah, I'd have to say Reason's my favorite. I've got all the other software, and I've got a bunch of MIDI gear and stuff like that, which to me it's not really the MIDI gear. It's just the program. So.
Well, what track from one of your 3 albums should I use to close today's interview? Do you have a favorite or one you're really proud of?
I have actually. See, this is funny because, I've noticed in all my years here producing music and playing it for people, it seems like the things I like the most are the things that everyone else likes the least, and the things that I like the least are the things that everyone just absolutely loves. Things that I barely don't even want to share with people. They're just like, oh, this is just fantastic. I love this, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So, I'd have to say my favorite. I like the Undead Bride and Spinning in Vega off the Defiled Hood album, and I think off of Purple Passion. I can't remember what I really put on Purple Passion. Probably Alice in Black. Alice in Black is probably my favorite off that.
Well, we've played the Spinning in Vega track a couple times on our Local Mix Monday show. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Undead Bride.
Awesome.
All right?
Undead Bride it is then.
All right. Well, John, thanks a lot for meeting with us.
Thanks for having
me. Wish you all the best of luck with your Bio Puppet project and other things that you got coming up. And
excellent.
Look forward to hearing more stuff in the future.
Cool. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.